That's. I'm about to say, does everybody hear that when he started? That's kind of
Now
Yes.
recording.
yeah, that was kind of weird. Oh, okay.
He's-
Now we got this figured out. Technology is great.
Yep.
Oh gosh, I'm freaking terrible.
Yep. Y'all be seeing them videos of them robots.
Like Terminator robots, or like
Well, you know, I can't explain it, but I mean, they got like legs and stuff, and they be like having them like doing like jumping over stuff, doing backflips.
oh yeah.
And I see somebody comment and said, "Well, is this how we go out?" It's like killer robots. He was like, "Have y'all not seen our robot or any other movie, Terminator?" Like,
If we're being honest, I'm all for it. I think it's about that time anyway.
oh, about that time for what?
Whatever need to happen.
You need to calm down.
Robot,
I'm
take
just
over.
saying. Hey, I mean, that's what you want to call it. I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna just like call it like a new religion.
Oh my god! I'm gonna call it a new religion.
Cause listen, I am not built to fight no robot. So if they want to take over, by all means.
You go look at it. It was like, well, I knew it was coming sooner or later.
I
He
mean,
said-
shoot, what you expect me to do? I
said,
can't outrun them. They don't get tired. Like, what am I supposed to do?
My boy said, I ain't worked out about a couple years, so they know they got me.
At least 2. So I don't know what you want me to do. Anyway, everybody, welcome back to episode 2 of Mark My Words. It's your boy, Mr. Mark My Words, Marcus.
I
Go ahead, Jay. You get
Oh.
yeah, no, you good, yeah.
I am I'm Marlon 501.
Okay. By all means, so first of all, we're gonna start off by talking about our hate for Jimmy John's. But before that, we have a special guest joining us all the way from down the street.
Literally down the street, not really, but
I'm gonna let Marlon introduce him. He's known him longer.
yeah, this is a really good friend of mine and also Marcus. Now,
Yeah.
known him for a few years now, but we glad to have Deli on the podcast with us.
Hey, that's your
Everybody
movie.
give it up. Hey, everybody give it up for that.
Good answer.
Thank
Good
you,
answer.
Thank you. I tried.
Our very first guest, Deli. How are you feeling? How are you feeling being the first guest on Mark My Words?
Man,
It's a lot of
It's
pressure.
alright.
If it don't go right with you, we cutting them off.
well, that is true. This
Like you-
this could be the break of the podcast.
I was like,
It will end after me.
if you
Yeah,
don't,
It
if
sucks.
you don't see Daly back, just know he messed up somewhere.
It's cause I got a job.
You got a what?
I got
He
a
got
full time job.
You got a full-time job. Hey, I feel you. That's all of us right now. That's a
That
side
is
gig.
facts. You know.
Unless you're trying to make my dreams come a reality, go ahead and donate.
Make my dreams a reality. I'm trying to go to Disneyland. What's up?
Hey man, we out
I
here.
wanna pay
man.
rent
We out
first.
here. Hey, man, so when I come back, I'm thinking, how?
You'll come back. Well, all my stuff outside.
At least my trip was fun. Had a good time. So first, Deli, everybody on our podcast that comes with us, or that joins us, we have to ask the question: how do you feel about Jimmy John's? Answer carefully.
Jimmy John's is trash.
It's garbage, absolute garbage, trash can juice. Marlon, I already know how you feel. Go ahead and tell the people
Look,
how you feel.
if
about
you like Jimmy John's,
Hold on. I gotta say something.
yeah,
okay,
go
okay,
ahead.
okay.
Look, man. I like me a good sandwich. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Sandwich places are pretty nice,
Mhm,
but when it comes to Jimmy John's, it's just not good.
Right?
I think that about right. I think that about that
That's
about
all
says
we
it.
gotta
Look.
say.
That really about
Look.
says it.
That's the end of the podcast. I'm out. Thanks for having me.
All right, y'all. Welcome.
Hey,
Thank you for coming to our TED Talk. We gonna
We appreciate y'all stopping by and giving us a listen.
Please do not go to Jimmy John's.
Please
That's
don't.
all.
look. This is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna go ahead and toss my 2 cents in.
Hey, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Not throw, toss.
Hey, talk your my
Mm.
Okay, so this is my thing. if I want to eat a stale sandwich, I can leave my bread out at home for a day.
Uh-huh.
Put a couple slices of meat, some cheese, and it's a Jimmy John sandwich. I can do that for free at home. I don't gotta pay
the crib
$7, $8, $9 for a sandwich. That's nasty. That's all I'm saying.
Like, why would you? All right, you know, we could be here all day. All right, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. So today, on today's episode, we're gonna form an opinion. Maybe you already have one. You know, we're gonna bring it to the table about the disconnect between millennials and baby boomers. Now, me and Deli talked about this. He recently made a status on his Facebook that I thought was interesting. So I commented on it, giving my 2 cents. Do you mind kind of reiterating what that was for the people?
Yeah, let me go ahead and read it because I just pulled it.
Yeah,
up.
that'd be dope.
My Facebook post was, why do people have the mentality of my life was hard, so yours needs to be hard too? And I said, if your life was so hard, why would you want someone else to experience that hardship? And if everyone did that, why would not make you very special now, would it? And the reason that, I mean, I've seen it before. I've seen that kind of like mentality before, but recently I was reading some like comments on a post about the new bill that was signed in California about the like NCAA players being able to get paid or whatever by endorsements and stuff.
Yeah, right. I remember seeing that.
And one, like, I'm in like this Missouri Tigers group. That's like my college team or whatever. So I'm in this like group, and one of the players like commented in the group, and a lot of people were commenting in the group. And so like a player that played on a team a couple years ago, so he's a graduate or whatever, was arguing with people that are fans of him because he's a player. And this lady, I never like looked into her account or whatever, so I don't know, she could be younger or older. I never really looked, but it was a lady or whatever. And she was definitely a little older than whatever, but she was like making the argument that like he should just get a job in football or whatever, and like while he plays football, which the NCAA doesn't allow. I found that out recently. Is that there's a rule that doesn't allow you to have a job while you play a sport.
Really?
I didn't know that. I didn't know that, and I was like,
either.
That makes that argument completely invalid now, because it's just like,
the
only time you're allowed to have a job is during the like 3 months of summer vacation, and I didn't know that. And I was like, wow, that's really crazy. But even without that rule, it's like the time that you have is not enough to have a job anyways.
Right. Yeah, it's like you're 100%
but
committing yourself.
She said like, get a job and just quit complaining. You get a free education or whatever. And like there's arguments around it, different kind of stuff. I don't know. There's different opinions, and there's a lot of things that make sense about certain things. But she was like, he said something about don't mind. I think her name is Sharon, but which is funny.
Classic.
But don't
I was like, come on, Sharon.
He said, don't mind Sharon. She must have had a fortunate life. And then she replied with, nope, I worked 2 jobs to put myself through school. And which we found out was like in the 70s or 80s. So college was much different in price.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't even know if she went to Missouri. If she went to Missouri, it may have been a little bit more, but back then it was still really cheap.
Right. Yeah.
And she worked 2 jobs to be able to do that. Which I was like, that was where the idea of like, why? Because your life was hard. Why does his, like, he's playing a sport and physically cannot get a job, but he's talking about how he barely had enough money to put gas in his car to get to class or eat, because if the calf was closed, there was no place else to eat or whatever.
And he's practicing sun up, sun down.
Right.
He's still got classes.
He's up from 5 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night doing school and workouts and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, he doesn't have time to have a job or, just, whatever. So it was just like, that was the argument that, like, I guess like stem the Facebook post.
Yeah.
But like I've seen that before where it's just like things like, you know, I had to do this when I was growing up, so it's like copping out if you don't have to do this as a generation or whatever, that kind of thing, I guess.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like that's such a weird argument to make.
It's a weird comeback to a statement like that. And I think mainly from some stuff that I've been looking at just on the side, since I knew we were like, doing this, like I realized that one, most of the people in the older generation just think that millennials are just entitled and lazy, which I feel like couldn't be farther from the truth for the most part. I feel like, especially with my friends, all of them work extremely hard to do whatever they can to stay afloat.
Exactly.
And I feel like me, like I'm a horrible example because I'm just trying to make it. Like I'll be the first to admit that. Like I'm not out here trying to overachieve. I'm just trying to get by. As long as I keep doing the stuff that I do on a daily basis and I don't really change, I'm cool. I'll complain. I mean, everybody should complain. I think that's healthy.
Right.
But I don't think that like I'm one of these super hardworking people. I probably fit more of I wouldn't say I'm entitled, but lazy. You could argue that I'm lazy. But I think it's mainly because during like you said before, like during that different time, like she was Sharon, because we don't know her, so we'll use her name. Like Sharon.
I'll try and find her Facebook.
I mean, like the way she said, like that she had to work 2 jobs. Like, why is that? Why is that? An
I
okay
remember
thing?
one of the things that really upset me was when she was talking. So she said, I work 2 jobs to put myself through school, and then he said something about how he can't get a job and that he still had to struggle to be able to put gas in his car and that kind of stuff. And then she commented, "Why play then?" And I was like,
"Because do you not? What?
Okay.
That was like okay, that doesn't make sense. Okay,
it's like because he doesn't want to, because he wants a career.
Exactly. Like I'm chasing the bag, ma'am.
Come on,
like,
shit.
Like I'm trying to play for the NFL. Like I'm trying to make it big. And you tell me why play?
That's like telling somebody why go to college.
And not even that, because he's also going to school and stuff, and like
right, like
he's trying to get get some kind of degree out of what he's doing.
Exactly. Yeah. Even if he doesn't make it, then he still has his degree.
The fallback. Yeah.
And the biggest thing is like a lot of people don't agree that colleges should pay players, but the only thing that the bill that is in question right now allows people to do is hire agents and get endorsements. So that has nothing to do with the school. It would just be like it would just be like if I don't know. I was gonna say a player, but I couldn't think of one. If a player from a big school was, the quarterback, and Nike's like, "Hey man, we'll pay you $100,000 if you sign with us, and you'll rep us in an advertisement or something."
All right.
Then he can get money from that, even down to. So this is where the most frustrating part was like back during the basketball tournament for March Madness. Oh, that's my iPad. Sorry.
Hey, I see you balling over there though.
But, quick flex.
quick flex. There was a guy that was on the Virginia team that was getting ready to play in the national championship, and he was about to get married too, but he couldn't register for gifts for his wedding because the NCAA would not allow him to do that, and because it was a form of payment, and so like he couldn't register at all. Not even just like on the side, like he couldn't do it at all, and so they couldn't register for their wedding while he was a player.
Wow,
and,
what the heck?
And then like I saw something on Twitter today. I don't know, it may be, I don't know how true it is, but like some lady was talking about she was like an assistant coach's wife, and she had to like go through the NCAA to like make sure she complied with all the rules to bring a home cooked meal to a player that just had surgery. Like
what?
that was the level of stuff they have to go through just to be able to do that, so they don't break a rule.
Yeah,
my man just want a home cooked meal in the hospital. Who wants to eat a hospital?
And it's just like exactly, and it's just like it's so ridiculous how much is controlled by it. It's just like some of the things they could just like if it doesn't have, the college doesn't have to pay players like the NFL. It's just like,
right, yeah. But
there's
just
just
give
some
something to
things
make
that
it
just
worth
like
their while.
so many things that they're not allowed to do because of it and that kind of thing. And so,
Yeah,
but
that's
anyways, that's not
man.
the argument. But
Right, but that's a good. I see, but that's a
yeah,
good like start off point. That's a good example
Right.
of just why things why things need to change and why things are changing, and how people just aren't okay with it.
hmm
And like pertaining to jobs, right? Like I feel like the older generation, they always had like there was always this thought process of, if I stay with this company for 20 plus years, then they're basically, it's like an agreement, right? It was like an agreement between the company and the employee saying like, hey, if you give us your time, we'll make sure we take care of you throughout your lifetime. And it's like, now, like, I feel like that's not the same case.
Yeah.
Like places now will let you go for little stuff and then replace you just as quick as they found you.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I feel like that's why, one, I feel like millennials will quickly like bounce around to different jobs. Like I knew a girl when I went to college with, she had like 4 different jobs within like 2 months. And it's like, one, first of all, why these jobs raining out the sky for you? The boy was looking. He ain't find nothing. But 2, it's just like, when a job doesn't have directly what we need, then we don't waste time. And I think that's the difference. Like a lady, like I used to work at a grocery store. I'll let y'all guess which grocery store most of y'all know. And I had a lady, and I didn't mind working there. Like there was a bunch of nice people that I met, regulars. But one of the things the lady told me was just like, hey, if you stay with this company, they'll really, this grocery chain, they'll really take care of you. Like you'll be really good. She's like, I've known people that I grew up with that are like super, high up in the company. I'm just like, I ain't got time for that. I'm getting 825 pushing carts in the sun. How much longer I gotta do this before I need to be doing something else? Now, granted, once again,
yeah.
I'm not the greatest example because I don't have like the credentials. I don't have a college degree. So for something like, for me, that sounds like a good idea to stay with a company so I can.
Right.
But even then, there are still companies who are just like, it comes down to like, oh, we want 80 years of experience.
Yeah.
Coming out, but for an entry level job, you know what I mean?
I'm like on like a little bit on that, like opposite of the, because I have the degree and I'm working at
exactly,
at a news station, and like
Quick
they
flex,
really
quick
flex. They really hype up the like idea of staying, because with them it's a little bit different, like maybe like a grocery store, like a restaurant
for sure,
or something. And so they really, because they have a lot of places all over the country or whatever.
Right.
And they hype up about staying with the company, and like once I'm here for like a year, 2 years, 3 years, and I get that 2 or 3 years of experience, that really opens the door for like a lot of upgrade for me in terms of
now, is that internally or just overall, or both?
Kind of both, really, because internally I just have to find the right thing, but like once I get like that 2 or 3 years of experience with like the place, like that's what people, like the businesses, are looking for. Because like you can come out with a degree and an internship and all that stuff, but like once you've had that like actually experience inside of doing stuff, then they're like much more likely to look at you and that kind of thing.
Yeah. And
so I guess it just kind of depends on where you go for that kind of thing, and it's hard to decide like, is it worth staying or worth finding a job here, and
And it's also just comes down to how the company itself like just treats you, like as a whole. Like there's a lot of places that I wouldn't have mind staying had it not been for like the management. So it's kind of like it is like you said, there's a lot of factors that kind of go into it. I also think that a lot of companies, like due to a little bit of research I've been doing, a lot of companies now are hiring, they want to hire millennials because they know that they'll work hard if they give them something, like if they tell them like, hey, you do this will make you look good for these other people, so like it's worth coming to work for me. And I think that's a really good idea, and I think there's still a lot of other companies who don't see that just yet.
Something big, so to relate it back to our topic, I guess something big that I notice in my like area of work where I work is there is a lot of people who, you know, you see that there's not a ton. I mean, it's kind of weird because I'm like, you know, 22 working
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like in this legit business, and so I'm working with, you know, 30, 40, 50-year-old people,
Right.
and it's like it's different because I've just never had a job kind of like that. But like, there's a lot of like, you know, the older people that are like, especially up in the management kind of thing, that are like really, I guess, slower to like adapt certain things. And so like, since I'm in digital, that's kind of like I'm where like the, I guess, change is going to is like towards digital and that kind of thing. Like, cause you know, the newspaper in the town is like closing down and that kind of stuff, and like the news station is like the only news kind of source, the old school news source that's still around. And I think as we move everything towards digital, like I think even the news is gonna like slowly fade out too. And so just like, I mean, when you watch the news, like even with the upgrades that they have now, like there's so many things. It's like, this is how news has been done for 100 years, and it's just like our generation doesn't watch the news. Like there's so many things that we need to do to adapt to that, because our generation isn't going to just suddenly start watching the news, I don't think. And it's like,
I don't think I'm ever going to get to the point to where I'm just like, oh, you know what, I think I'm what is this, 32 now? Yeah, I think I'll turn on the TV now. Like, you know, I don't think that's just gonna click.
And
you know?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I don't know, I'm not, you know, the person to decide what all that happens, but I think like, you know, Facebook is, you know, but Facebook, Twitter, you know, Instagram, YouTube, especially, like even I, like, it's weird to think, but like even thinking about something like similar to Twitch, it's like that's where the generations are moving to. And like there's so many, I'm worried, just like from a standpoint of just news in general, just like that we're not gonna like make that change fast enough, because there's so many, like, I mean, you can get all your news you need from YouTube, from YouTubers that don't have any kind of degree, any kind of experience. They just started making a YouTube channel about news, and it's like it's so much easier to do that. I mean, it's pretty hard work to do a YouTube channel on your own, but
for sure.
Just like there's so many people out there that do that now, and it's just like I would say a majority of, you know, people that view stuff that we do are not young people, and
I would agree.
It's weird. It's just weird to think, because I don't want to think like, oh, I hope I still have this job in a year because we like don't have enough people watching or something, but. Like I feel like if the news stations in general don't start making that kind of switch, it's like those generations are eventually going to die. Maybe it takes 40, 50 years from now, so it may not be, you know, that big of a deal, but eventually it's just like we have to make some kind of adaptation to digital in some way to like really incorporate. And like, I don't know, I mean, news is very, very professional. And I feel like I feel like our generation doesn't like professional as much, and so like sometimes I think of like, what if a newscast just was less professional and is like less newsy? It's like, are more people going to tune in? And if they have a way to, like, you know, I can go on YouTube and stream it while it's live at 12 every day at noon. It's like, I don't know. That's just things that I think about while I'm at work grinding.
And that makes sense. Hey, I see you. That's what we all doing. That's what we all doing. Y'all just trying to make it. So, like you said, you don't know exactly how long it will be, but as far as just the overall, disconnect, right? What do you think? What do you think it will take to bring us closer, or do you think there will just always be that disconnect? Like even for us, like there will be a disconnect between like us and the generation below us.
Yeah.
Like, do you think there'll always be that, or do you think at some point we'll be able to like come together and realize like, hey, like maybe we do have to step up, and maybe we do need to actually look at where they came from and make that adjustment? Or what do you think?
I just feel like
you go. You got it.
You better look quiet. Go ahead.
I didn't want to interrupt y'all. I was talking.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I just feel like they have the, you know, which we do too, but they have a different, mindset than we do.
Mhm.
They're thinking like where Sharon, she's like, oh, I had 2 jobs, I did this and this and this, and then millennial or the guy's like, well, I'm trying, but I literally can't because I'm chasing this career that I want.
It had nothing to do with his factor of laziness, because there was no laziness about what he was doing.
Right, and
Yeah.
it's
that's the big thing about it to me.
And it's like, oh, millennials not working hard enough. Oh, they're lazy, which I guess, which is not everybody, but I understand. I mean, can see where they're coming from as of like, oh yeah, they got all this technology, they just want to sit at home, they don't want to do nothing, they got blah blah blah. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but it's not like all of us are doing that, and we actually use it for our like advantage of, not being lazy or trying to get where we need to be in life. And it's like, well, you want us to stop doing this, but it's like, this is actually helping us out. Like, you want us to work harder. It's like, well, we're working, but we're doing it an easier way than actually like, working our fingers to the bone or whatever you want to call it.
Right. I also think that there's like with just that the technology gap, right? So I think that there are a lot of things that used to be, what's the word? That I mean, not I don't want to use it used to be like super important because that's like super basic, but that's who I am. Like there's a lot more things that were essential that now don't really matter. Like when's the last time you wrote and mailed a letter?
Right.
Like there are things that
we're lazy because we can send a text message in 2 seconds.
Within a couple of seconds, and like it's the same thing of like not making a phone call because you could just send a text and find out the exact same information with less words. And like, and with this day to day, busy, like everybody's just busy. You know what I mean? Like even making time for us to get together to do this podcast, we had to plan it out because we all work full-time jobs, and we have to like making time for this. Although this is something that I enjoy and like I like doing.
Right.
Still, like,
I think the
only
biggest
so much time.
The biggest thing to me is always like just the fact that there's a lack of understanding, and it's like
I agree with that.
And then a lot of people, especially older generations, they have a lack of understanding, but they also have a stubbornness not to understand. And I think like your question was like, do you think this is just something that always happened? Something, I mean, this, from what I understand, is just something that's always happened for all of history, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like a generation is always like thought lesser of the next generation just because of the advancements in life, I guess, and that kind of thing. So
which is so backwards, right? Because they're the ones who came up with these. It's not like the kids are the ones who are like, oh, we
like the grandpa, he spends 45 minutes trying to text his grandkid, and then the grandkid can do 1,000 things in the amount of time that he did on his iPhone in the same amount of time. And like, to me, it's like that doesn't make the kid lazy. It's just because he knows how to work the devices, and it's just like that's the future that's going to continue to make somebody a grandpa's going to have struggle. I mean, I'm generalizing grandpas here, but grandpa's going to struggle.
Wow.
A grandpa's going to they're going to spend forever trying to get on Facebook and type something or whatever, and then like the kids nowadays can like they just know how to work a computer because that's just what they grew up with, and so they can do stuff and that grandpa never knew about, and they can do it way faster and that kind of thing. And that's just like the future, because it's just like that kid's gonna know how to work a computer, so when he's just gonna be better in the future world because he learned how to do these things at a young age, and it's just the things that we learned at our young age versus what they learned at their young age. And I think what could happen to make that to where there's less of that kind of gap of understanding and and stubbornness and stuff is like, I think it starts with our generation, I guess, because if we as like the millennial, I don't know, technically I'm not a millennial, technically I'm whatever the thing after that is, 'cause I'm like 22 or whatever, but
no, I'm pretty sure you're still a millennial.
No, from what I've read, millennials stop at 95. So I was 97.
Oh dang! Well, I'm a millennial. Yeah, I can't. Never mind.
No, you're.
Wait, you talking
I
about
think
the
you're.
Like,
I think it's like
real old
Gen.
right now.
It's like Gen Y or Gen Z. I don't know what it is.
Well,
but
I just feel like it's different. It's different. It's different things.
Because a millennial, like a 7-year-old right now is not a millennial. He's
Right.
But
Okay,
anyways, back to the point. Back to the point.
Yeah.
Starting with our generation, because I feel like our generation has the most understanding of like both, not really both sides, but like we kind of grew up without internet and Facebook and iPhones and that kind of thing. So we kind of have an understanding of like a life without it, and then like the generation ahead of us, grew up with that stuff, so they don't. But we also have a complete understanding, for the most part, most of us do, an understanding of the future stuff. Like we know how to work an iPhone, we know how to work a computer, just as well as our younger generation. So we're kind of like in the middle of that. And I think so if we start with our generation, if we just make an effort to always like understand and not necessarily just completely not want to ever be a part of whatever's next. Like if something comes out in like 5 years and it's like the iPhone of that generation, and it's like if we just completely write it off and like stub and don't want to learn about it and that kind of thing, like then our generation will just grow up to be the same as the generation above us. And it's like, I think with the new technology that allows so much information to be shared and stuff, that it can be a possibility now, just because there's such a huge ability to be able to do that, like to be able to understand things and see so many perspectives and see what's out there and just understand what's in the world, and not just see a bunch of kids playing on phones and call them lazy, entitled kids.
Like it takes that, like, I mean, even for me, like, it's gonna take that step to try and understand, and then not, like, in this, it comes down to just understanding, right? Like, even if you don't agree with it, just at least understand that that's what the world is, and that's where we're at. And I think that's what the most, like, it's not even just like, oh, I don't understand it. They just like, or they don't want to understand. It's like a lack of no.
It's scary. It's scary to look at and see what the world is, because to them, they grew up and lived most of their life before the internet or before phones, and so, when that 45 or 50-year-old is like looking at kids playing Fortnite, winning $3 million, they're like, that is ridiculous. I could never imagine somebody sitting at a computer for 9 hours a day doing that. And then they go to their desk job and work 9 hours a day, which I think is silly. But, and make way less than $3 million. But I ain't going to say nothing about that.
You're like, you don't know.
Ain't gonna call out no names. But yeah, no, I agree. I mean, we got the whole world in our pockets nowadays. I mean, anything you want to know, like, that's the thing. Like, I have so many, like, people, even older people in my family, who will ask questions when they have smartphones, and I'm just like, anything you want to know, you can Google it, like, and Google is everywhere. Literally. So like when they'll ask like, have you ever seen this or done this, and literally within a matter of seconds I can have all the information I need to know about it, but they won't do it. Look at Google. Listen to me.
Google, it's like, hold on, what'd you say? You call my name?
He said, oh, you called me?
Hello?
Said, this is my part. Man, shut up. Dang. But yeah, like, it's ridiculous, and I think you're absolutely right. It's just gonna come down to trying to understand more, and never falling out of, like, and it's not necessarily falling out of the trend, because I don't think that, like, it comes down to trends, and I think that's where a lot of a disconnect comes to. But I think it's just always trying to understand where they're coming from, and I mean, just try. I mean, just try.
I think it just starts with us, like, accepting and trying to make sure that we, at least are willing to understand a generation above us when there's something that we may not get at the time.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's weird for me because I like look at it, I'm like, I try and keep up with a lot of stuff. I'm on Twitter a lot. I'm on Facebook. I try to understand. I'm on TikTok. But
this dude here,
I'm not falling in.
I was like, no, I'm not.
Like, I just can't imagine myself like not kind of keeping up with what's going on really, because I just feel like it's such a part of me. But
Right.
I don't know if there's like a time or period where I get old enough that I'm just like, man, I don't even know what's going on out there. But
I hope. Hey, look, I already told him when I get to the point to where like this is kind of off topic. I'm just
No,
gonna
go say it. No. It's all
But-
good.
When I get to the point to where I can't control my bowels no more, go ahead and pull the plug on me, cause I don't want to live like that.
Marcus
I
gonna
don't
be
wanna live like that.
Marcus back. I'll be like, "What's up, Marcus? Can't bring you some food?" He's like, "Yo,
what's that?
I pooped to myself.
It's like a
I'll
Lil
pull
Wayne
the plug, cuz."
sound just like that.
Do it. Like I'm done. But yeah, no, I totally understand. Well, I mean, this has been, I feel like, a good conversation. Lots of I don't know if I don't know if we necessarily call them facts, but at least lots of really good opinions
Discussion
coming
points.
out. Yeah, a lot of good discussion points, and
Right.
I feel like hopefully anybody listening, you understand at least from our point of view. Maybe we'll have somebody else on that can show us another point of view, because it's a little hard to have a full discussion when you don't have that other side. So we'll have to get that in there. Anybody have any last minute comments before we go ahead and wrap this thing up?
I got a fun fact.
Yeah, fun fact. Okay.
Armadillo shells are bulletproof.
Armadillo shells are bulletproof. Is this
He
true?
said Google.
Hold on.
In fact, one text. Look, listen. If that's wrong, I take that one.
I kind of believe it.
It said, in fact, one Texas man was hospitalized when a bullet he shot in an armadillo ricocheted off the animal. First off, why are you shooting an armadillo?
You know what they be doing out there
When you ain't got nothing else to do, you might as
in the
well.
banjo towns.
In the bed. He shot an armadillo, ricocheted off the animal, and hit him in the jaw.
Oh,
So,
that. Oh,
first off, it was like he
That
go
is-
to the hospital. Imagine you having to explain
I
that.
got a little fact for you too. Now we should just end. You should just end the show every time with like a couple facts.
in the show with facts. I'm okay with this. We can make this a thing.
Samsung tests phone durability with butt-shaped robots.
Okay. That's just it. That's the end of the.
That's
You're
the
pretty
fact.
good. Marcus, you got water. I need to go again.
I got nothing. I was not prepared for this. Y'all really coming with the facts.
I just looked them up real quick.
I'm be honest with you. I saw that one.
I got a fun fact about myself.
What?
I don't like working.
Okay. Hold on, I got one to finish. I guess I didn't have to finish this out, but this was pretty good.
Yeah, go ahead.
The oldest "your mom" joke was discovered on a 3,500-year-old Babylon tablet.
You lying.
Somebody wrote to
It was
somebody.
discovered in Iraq in 1976.
They was going
However,
in.
the tablet has been lost, but the text remains. What is the text though?
Listen,
Yeah, I'm about to
imagine
say, what's
imagine
the-
you sitting there and somebody say something.
Somebody
like,
Somebody
about
had to
you.
chisel a joke about your mom. They had to chisel it onto a
Literally.
piece of stone.
Like, imagine if you the first person, like you the person that he talking about. Like, your mom is the person you talk about. That's the first one ever. Think about that. It's like
That's actually pretty impressive.
that's like
That's pretty cool. Not even gonna lie.
your mama. Is everybody? Oh, hey, you remember that time you said that about your mama? You gotta go the rest of your days knowing that you the first mama joke.
Yo, mama, so fat.
uh,
I
what? No, what you about
I'm
to
not-
say?
I ain't finna get that ignorant on this.
He said, look, chill. Another fun fact, cows don't have upper front teeth.
Wait, you know what? I don't think I've ever really thought about that. That's actually a really good fact. Okay, see now I gotta Google a picture of a cat.
Exactly. They do have you have
This
molars
is wild.
in the top back of their mouths though. Oh my goodness. Where do you expect upper teeth or in scissors, cows, sheep, and goats have a thick layer of tissue called dental pad.
That's wild.
They don't hash them fried
A
chicken.
single a single strand of spaghetti is called a spaghetto. And that's all we need.
All right, yeah. I'm gonna try to forget. You just said that. And we are going to
All
wrap
right.
this up.
Is a spaghetto.
Noah, thank you so much for joining us and bringing the conversation.
I got one more. This is
Oh
all-
gosh, here we go.
Nintendo trademarked the phrase "It's on like Donkey Kong" in 2010. That's all.
Wow,
Okay.
that's
Now
trademark.
That's
I
trademark
could
saying.
get copyright for saying that. We're
Yes.
never gonna say that.
We
Never say that
gotta
again.
give. Nintendo has that trademarked. We are not monetized currently, and
Yeah. So we not no.
Never mind. You might have to bleep that out.
I'm gonna bleep it all out.
Hold on.
Take my
Chill.
non-existent
Listen.
money.
All right. This is gonna be the last one.
Okay, here we go. The
Golly,
actual
we gonna
last
be reading
one.
them for 4 minutes.
Yeah, I was like, here
Listen.
we go.
The number symbol on the phone or
Okay.
computer
The hash-
isn't the
the
hashtag.
pound sign.
Yeah.
See, the boomers gonna get mad when they hear us say that hashtag on the pound sign.
I swear I was thinking that exact thing. I was like, whoever listened to this, they finna
I
be
call
so
it the
mad. They
hashtag.
call it a hashtag. That's exactly the whole point of what we've been talking about today.
Exactly. the hashtag symbol is it officially called hashtag or pound?
What's
It's
it
not.
called?
I don't know. It did say. Hold on.
Oh my gosh.
Come on.
What's up with these
What fact is
factoids
that?
not finishing the whole fact?
What? Its technical name is Octothorpe.
See, I'm not finna play. I'm not finna play with them.
Okay.
I'm not finna play with them.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Nah. I disagree. I don't care. I disagree. No.
The octo means 8.
No, I'm done. No, I want to hear more about it. I'm
To
done.
its points.
I'm done. Noah, thank you for being here.
Hey,
You're welcome
appreciate it.
anytime. If you want to
Lit.
bring more awesome conversations, we would love to have you.
Definitely.
You the man.
Follow me on Twitter at Delifromthe501.
Okay.
Hold on,
free-
time out.
free
Hold on, real quick.
advertisement.
Hold on, real quick.
Wow.
Hold on. No.
I'm
So,
bleeping all
you
of
just
that
say-
out.
Well, I told y'all folks he gonna do something and he not gonna come back on the show. You thought I was lying. He tried to plug himself.
It's all right,
Okay.
I already plugged myself. It's too late.
He already did. He did it.
No, we gonna bleep all that out. Follow me at
This has been awesome. This is episode 2. Tune in next week where we talk about how gorillas got the biggest hands in the animal kingdom.
So are they giving out hands or like?
Not to an elephant, that's for sure.
I have no idea.
All right, we're not
if
about
that's
to do
true or
this.
not. But we'll be back next Tuesday. I would say same time, but I have no idea when I'm gonna post these. So same time. We love y'all. Appreciate y'all stopping by. We'll holler at y'all later.
All right,
Bye.
your head up out there. All right.